think I'm in frame. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Yes, very echoey, very different environment. It's not a loft, it's Tenerife. And now you might be saying to yourself, Ryan, you're in Tenerife, why don't you give some lovely backdrop, some lovely scenery? I can't. I could probably get done for that. We're on a first flare sort of situation here. There is sunbathers watching me as I do this, so I can't exactly get them in the background. So you're just going to have to put up with this delightful pebble dashing that's going on around us. That's it for you. The fact is, we're here, and it's late, but we're here. So, as always, if you haven't already, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. That would be much appreciated. Yeah, I'm away, but I'm still going to try and do the odd video. It won't be to the same standard as always, but I'm sure you can forgive me, right? I'm sure you can forgive me. As I said, it's late, but I want to react to the game last night because I think it was quite a pleasant game to react to. It felt strange not being there, must say. First game I've missed at Celtic Park in quite a while now. So I wasn't obviously at the game. We watched it in the lovely Dubliner in Tenerife from quite an obscure angle. So sorry if you think any of my opinions of the game are obscure. We were sitting probably one of the worst seats in the house for it. But we've seen it, and that's what matters. It's time to react to that. Celtic beat Hibs 4-1 last night. Quite a shame that we had to lose the clean sheet in the end because I thought that we played well enough to deserve a clean sheet. But we'll come to that. 4-1, still top of the table. We keep that lovely advantage over Rangers heading into this tough fixture list coming up. Of course, we have Rangers later in the month, and the thing is getting confidence back on our side. And what I said in the match preview going into this game was Celtic needed a performance. We didn't get a full 90-minute performance against St Johnstone that was good enough. We did get the 3 points, but there was a lot of questions coming out of that game. Brendan Rodgers was visibly angered coming out of that game. So we needed something to kind of bring positivity into the side and bring a bit of optimism for the supporters. I think we got exactly that last night. I think up until we were up 4-0 anyway, brilliant. I think we took our foot off the gas a little bit for the last kind of half hour in the game. Of course, we conceded that goal as well, which was a bit annoying. But that's the kind of time in a game where you get to experiment, you get to do different things, rest players, maybe try a different approach, see what works and what doesn't. And I think that's what Brendan Rodgers maybe tried to do in the kind of closing half hour last night. I mean, you're 4-0 up at Celtic Park. You're not going to get many better opportunities to do that. Here comes the air conditioning. That's great. Don't say that I'm no professional. I could have sat here with the aircon on and decided, no, I'll turn it off so there's no racket in the background. As I was saying, that kind of gives you the opportunity to experiment a wee bit. I think that's what Brendan Rodgers done with the closing segment of the game last night. But the main beef and the main work was done in that opening 60 minutes. We blew Hibs out the water. And what I like about it is, and that you can look at this as a negative or a positive, I don't even think that we were that great last night, but I think that shows there is still levels to go up in this team. There is evident areas that are going to be improved. There's, you look at the 11 that we played last night, it's by far away from Celtic's strongest 11 that was on the park last night. So there's positives to take out of that. Even though I don't think we were tremendous, that shows that there's still levels for Brendan Rodgers to go up from what we did see last night, and overall I thought we were really good. I think there was a lot of positives to take away from the performance. Let's do what we normally do, go start to finish in these match reactions, even though we're a day late, I know, sorry, and we'll spawn some discussion off that. But first half we were just brilliant. We really did set the world alight, I thought, with some of the football we were playing. It's an exaggeration, I know, but listen, I'm giving Brodge his due when I can. No, we were really good. I thought that Luis Palma was just absolutely quality. And he's, a couple of weeks now, he's maybe not been the same standard that we were seeing of him. That was one of his best performances, I think, by far in a Celtic shirt. I thought he was just quality, and it showed the difference in the wingers last night between a Palma and a Johnston. They're worlds apart. But that was great for Palma, and I know this is jumping forward a little bit in the game, but the penalty was huge, him scoring the penalty. As soon as he stepped up to take it, I was full of confidence. Surprisingly, I was full of confidence he was going to score it. Despite our horrendous penalty record and despite the fact that he missed one a couple of weeks ago, I was full of confidence he was going to score it. And one of the reasons that he did score it is he's changed that daft approach. He didn't bother with the stuttering. He just took the penalty, scored the goal. There was vindication in it, and he got it. And I'm glad to see that. Now, Brendan Rodgers did speak after that very game, I think it was, when Palma missed the penalty and the penalty issues were brought into focus. Brendan Rodgers spoke about after that, listen, we're going to work on these, we're getting penalty takers, they will be the consistent penalty takers for Celtic, and we're going to work on them. I think that Brendan Rodgers has clearly pulled them aside the next day in Lennoxtown and went, run up, scrap it, just hit the penalty. Because he's obviously got the quality to be a penalty taker, and he's obviously good enough to strike the ball. He doesn't need that daft stuttering run up, and who knows, maybe it'll return. But what I'm glad that it was gone, because he did have the opportunity to go for it. Let's be real, I think we were 2-0 up at the time when we got the penalty. He could have just done it because it's his style. We've got that bit of a cushion in the game, but no, he made sure the game was done, and that was one of the things that I was delighted with about that first half yesterday. The game was done by half time, and I don't think in recent memory there's been enough games like that. There has been the odd one or two. At Aberdeen we were really good, and you could see the fact that we were going to win the game come half time, and there's been a couple other ones scattered in around there. But one of the main things about Celtic's performance yesterday that stood out to me the most was the fact that we made sure the game was done. We didn't drag things out. We didn't give Hibs an opportunity to get back into the game, and Hibs were pretty useless, to be fair. I thought they were really poor, but we never gave them that kind of lingering chance that we've given other teams at Celtic Park this season, like Motherwell. We've not been leaving it at 1-0. We got the job done. There was a bit of ruthlessness in the Celtic team yesterday, and it's something that I think has been missing from the team for a few games this season. So we had that game wrapped up, we had the game won, and Lewis Palma just solidified that with his penalty to come back to my original point. Nae stuttering, nothing fancy, strikes the penalty, puts the game to bed. His performance was just absolutely brilliant. He deserves all the plaudits for it. He's quickly becoming my favourite player in this side. And I think there's, once again, just like I said with the team, I think there's levels to come with him. I think we're only seeing the beginning of his Celtic journey, and I think the development that he will go through will make him an even better player than what we're seeing right now, which for the rest of the league is a terrifying prospect. Talking about working at things at Lennoxtown, we scored from a corner kick. That's how we opened the game. I know I just skipped the first two goals and went straight to the penalty, but we scored from a corner kick. Unbelievable. So I said that Brendan Rodgers would have pulled, Palma aside and said, penalties, strike it. That's all you have to do. But the thing that I like to see is a goal from a corner, and listen, you call it a fluke, you can say whatever. It went down as O's goal in the end. I thought it was Cameron Carter-Vickers at first, but it went down as O's. But it's nice to see a score from a corner, nice to see a bit of routine, working routine, I should say, successful routine for the Celtic side, and something that we've been lacking is the ability to score from set pieces and really make them useful. And yesterday, that's how we opened the game, and we opened the game pretty early. It kind of set the tempo for us, and that's the advantage of getting a goal early at Celtic Park. You get a goal early at Celtic Park, 9.9 times out of 10, you're winning the game. And the opposition have to change their approach, because if they're planning on coming to Celtic Park to sit back, to defend, you have to change that for them, because suddenly they need a goal to get back in the game. So it's great getting that early goal. It was great that we got it from a set piece. And just overall in the first half, I just thought things were clicking really, really well. I thought the midfield three was really good, and I'm going to come on to that just now in the next segment of the video. For me, Awata needs to be playing more games. I think last night's a good example of it. I don't think he's the answer to Celtic's problems, or I don't think he's the next Messiah, but I do think he's a solid enough player who, in all of his appearances for Celtic, be it 10 minutes or 90 minutes, I think that he's very rarely put a foot wrong. I thought last night he brought that control in the midfield. It was a kind of a breath of fresh air to see somebody else in that CDM role. Really, really liked him. I think he deserves more minutes moving forward. I don't think that Brendan Rodgers is suddenly going to upstick everything that he has been doing to supplement that. I don't think that he's going to be playing Awata week in, week out, but he certainly, in this December schedule especially, deserves more minutes and more game time, and really liked what I seen of Awata last night. And it's nothing incredible. It's not like he's came in and he's the next coming of Sergio Busquets or anything like that, but there was a real stability that he brought ahead of the back line. Just really like him. And the other guy I wanted to talk about in the first half as well is O, who is, week by week impressing me more and more. Someone who I wouldn't say wrote off as a Celtic player. I wouldn't say that I completely disregarded him as an option for Celtic, but he's quietly impressing me as weeks go by. He gets 2 goals last night. His second goal, the finish is absolutely brilliant. You know, he's a guy that's been choking for these opportunities, and now he's getting them, and he's scoring goals. The problem was he wasn't getting chances, and people were saying, "Oh, he's not scoring." The main problem was he wasn't getting many opportunities to score. But now we're getting to see him play. He's taking these opportunities and he's scoring these opportunities. So you get a Wata and O2 guys who are not getting an awful lot of playing time, and you get them out there playing like that last night. It's good news for us, and it doesn't take away from the fact that January there's massive work needed to be done. But you know, they had a very impressive performance against a Hibs side who've been doing well recently. I think up until last night they were unbeaten in 6 in the league. You know, so they were playing a tough side, and they played pretty well. So massive shout-outs in the first half to them. I thought Cal McGregor was a lot better last night as well. Defensively, first half I thought were really good. Going forward, I thought were really good. Couple of things that we'll touch on. But aye, first half was brilliant. Second half, not so brilliant. As I said, kind of closing half hour, we toned stuff down a bit. But there's a couple of final discussion points that I wanted to go through before we wrap up the video. Nat Phillips is useless. He's hopeless. He is literally, and I know people have been cracking this joke on social media all day, so it's not an original of mine, obviously, but it stands true. He's a Shane Duffy regen. It's unbelievable. He's literally the second coming of Shane Duffy. I cannot believe it. The difference was staggering, I thought, between Vickers and Scales, and then Scales and Phillips. I thought it was a massive difference when Phillips came on the park. Obviously, he's not got long left in his Celtic career. I highly doubt that they'll extend that loan move to the end of the season. If they do, maybe it's smart for depth reasons, in case you do land yourself in another defensive injury crisis. But he's just, for me, not good enough. I don't know if it's just a case of struggling to adapt and really show his quality when he's not getting consistent minutes, but you know, that's not enough, sadly. For me, he's just pretty rotten, which is a shame because I like him as a guy. I think he is a talented player. It's just not worked for him at Celtic. So the difference, I thought, was that staggering. We conceded that goal, and I think he's mostly to blame for it. I hope Vickers I've not really been on social media, so I don't know the whole script with Vickers going off at half time. I mean, you may as well give him a rest when you can. If you're 3-0 up at half time or whatever, then take him off. You know, you may as well. But I hope he's okay. And the other thing that I wanted to touch on to close off is, like, are we now officially ending this Mikey Johnston love affair, second coming of Christ story? You know, people were saying, "Oh, Johnston's going to be a new player." He was useless. It was poor last night. That's all I've really got to say. I said that in the live stream the other night. I went, he could play well in every game between now and the January transfer window, and I'd still be getting rid of him. He's getting these opportunities. Brendan Rodgers I loved Rodgers' response to it, and that's one of the big talking points that came out of the game today was Rodgers' post-match interview. And he made comments along the line of, he's not a young boy anymore, he's 24. You know, he's a 24-year-old professional player. He's got, at some point, he's got to take the bull by the horns. That was Brendan Rodgers' words. And that's what I've been saying for weeks now. I mean, it was the point that I made in my last match reaction was it was 4 years ago nearly where Lennon was telling him to fuck off on the bench. You know, back then his Celtic career probably shouldn't have been going any further. He wasn't good enough then. He's not good enough now. Brendan Rodgers stating blatantly obvious points and being completely honest about it, which I appreciate. There's no point in a manager coming out and being, "Oh, he's still a young lad. He can be better." No, Rodgers was just honest. You know, these are massive opportunities for Johnston. He's not taking them now. He's never going to have the chance at Celtic. I think he's been lucky to have as many chances as he had. But it was poor for me last night. As I was saying earlier in the video, I think the difference in class on the left-hand side of the park and the right-hand side of the park is massive. It's huge. So, yeah, I think that Johnston's somebody that has to move on for the betterment of his own career in January, for the best for both parties. But you listen, very little negatives in last night's game, far more positives. Right, I think that does it. Apologies for a match reaction that is, so late. I was originally going to come home last night after the game and do a quick one, but it was the first night of the holiday, I didn't want to sacrifice valuable drinking time, so went out, had a wee swally, enjoyed myself, not too much. I'm reasonable nowadays, so I'm feeling okay today. I might not look it though. I know you're probably thinking, Ryan, what a state you're in, but aye. Anyway, I'm going to get back to editing this. Hopefully I will be here on the channel with something tomorrow. Depending on what news comes out, we wait and see. Obviously, we play on Sunday, so hopefully maybe a match preview on Saturday, early Saturday, and then obviously a match reaction on Sunday, which should be out right after the game as usual, because it won't be late at night and I won't be out boozing. So there you go, and then we'll go from there and see what happens. But thank you all. Thank you for watching the video in the terrible conditions. You know, I know it's not the most professional looking thing in the world, but I appreciate you all coming and tuning in if you've been watching. So thank you for that. And yeah, God bless all the fans that I've bumped into so far in Tenerife. All lovely. So it's been nice meeting you. But take care. Hail, hail. I'll see you all next time.